introduce to you our first speaker for this afternoon, and that's Mr. Jeffrey Landers from Quantum Reading and Learning and Vision, who will be discussing vision issues after stroke. Jeff's career in eye care began in 1977 as a cadet with OPSM, and his connection with assistive technology first started in 1988 when he established a chain of retail optical shops and optometry practices. The retail venture continued for 10 years, and it was during this time that his passion to assist people with vision loss that could not be corrected with spectacles was born. In 2011, Jeff joined Quantum as a low vision specialist, covering the south of Sydney, the southern New South Wales and the ACT areas. When asked what drives his interest, Jeff gave this insight. Working with people of all ages and social circumstances has been an endless source of stimulation for me, and every day I am amazed at people's resilience and ingenuity. Finding human solutions using technology is tremendously rewarding. I do like technology, but mainly the outcomes that I see as a result of that technology. And I see my role as communicating possibilities. OrCam is the perfect example of innovative assistive technology with a truly liberating effect on people's lives. So Jeff will be talking to us about both vision loss after stroke and how to use technology to assist in any recovery that you may need. So welcome, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you for the opportunity to present to people today. So go to my first slide. If we've got the slides up. Here we go. Thank you. So vision issues after stroke. So a little bit of an introduction about the organisation, Quantum. Quantum is an Australian-owned company, and it's been in operation for over 30 years. And we work closely with other allied health professionals. So one of the key messages from today is we are not here to try and take you away from your existing speech pathologist or occupational therapist. We're here to work hand in hand with yourselves and your existing allied health professionals. And I'm going to give you an overview of assistive technology that's preferred by stroke survivors. So quite often people are steered one way and it's not necessarily the most appropriate way. So I'm going to talk to you about the different things that can help. Get the slides to go. So Quantum's a national organisation. We've got our own offices in Brisbane. Whoops, the slide went too quickly. I'm not sure what happened there. Go back. So we've got our own offices in Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne. We're soon to open our new office in Adelaide, and we work hand in hand with lots of other organisations such as Guide Dogs, Vision Australia, Visibility and Ability. There's some different vision agencies. We specialise in print disability support, and I'll explain that a bit later on. We are registered suppliers to government agencies, the National Disability Insurance Scheme, DVA, Department of Veterans Affairs, Job Access and My Aged Care. So low vision, blindness and learning difficulties equals print disability. And again, I'll explain that in a bit more. And home and workplace visits. So quite often people say, look, I need some help. Where are you? I can't get to you. We can come to you if that's what's required. So I've said we've got site support centres in Sydney, Sydney North, Sydney South, Sydney North, Melbourne and Brisbane, and I personally am based in the Sydney South at Kirrawee. So who may have a print disability? A person that may have a print disability is a stroke survivor, somebody that has CVI, cerebral vision impairment, dyslexia, that is a print disability, the inability to read printed material, someone that has an acquired brain injury, intellectual disability, dementia, of course, eye disease such as macular disease, retinitis pigmentosa or glaucoma, or somebody that's just never learnt to read. Okay, so somebody might be as simple as that. So what is a print disability? Print disability is an inability to read printed material, newspapers, books, menus, food packets, shopping lists, all those types of things. And that can be as a result of a vision loss, so they could have something wrong physically with their eyes. It could be literacy, where, as I said, they've never learnt to read, all right? And it could obviously be from a brain injury. And all of those three can cross over. Someone might have a brain injury and a bit of vision loss, or just brain injury, and so on. So they all can be mixed and matched, but that's what a print disability is defined as. Now, quite often, and I'm going to say incorrectly, but quite often people will jump for an optical or a portable magnifier when they've got a brain injury. Optical and portable magnifiers help somebody that has a vision loss, so that means their eyeball or their eyes not being able to transmit the image down the optic nerve to the brain. But when you've got a brain injury or a stroke or something like that, optical magnifiers don't generally help. There's desktop magnifiers. They are a large device which you can put a document underneath, like a newspaper, a book or a magazine, and they will make the writing bigger. They'll enlarge it for the user. So again, they're very good for someone who's got a visual vision loss as opposed to a brain vision loss. And there is also text-to-speech devices. So as most of the audience here today is already going to know, well, I'm assuming you will know, you don't actually see with your eye. You actually see with your brain. The eye is just a vehicle to get the light impulses from your retina, down your optic nerve, down to the brain, where the brain processes that into an image for you. So if you've got an inability to process that stimulation coming down the optic nerve at the brain, doesn't matter what you put in front of you, it's not going to fix something that's happening inside the brain. So that's why I say optical magnifiers and things like that generally are of little use or no use to a stroke survivor or someone with a brain injury, because it's obviously happening inside the brain. Text-to-speech, however, are devices that people do like and find very, very useful. And I'm going to demonstrate some shortly. So text-to-speech devices come in various shapes and forms, and they read the printed documents out aloud to the user. Some of them also have, some optical magnifiers, electronic magnifiers have text-to-speech built in, but I'm going to show you some three of our most popular standalone text-to-speech devices shortly. Listening is quicker than reading. So if someone has an inability to see things properly or process images, listening to it much, much quicker. I'm speaking to you at about 120, 130 words a minute at the moment, and sometimes people can only read 20 words a minute. So you imagine if you're trying to read a book or a novel at 20 words a minute, it'll take you quite a long time. And obviously you get eye fatigue if you, it reduces eye fatigue using a text-to-speech. So I'm going to firstly demonstrate to you the OrCam Read. It is a handheld device. It's point and shoot. It has a little red laser image that comes out the front. So if someone's got some vision, this is okay because they can see the red pointer and they aim that at what they want it to read. It can read A4 size document with one go. You can actually be, say, in a club, if we're allowed to be in a club and you wanted to read a menu board behind the counter or a poster on a wall. It will read larger documents if you're further away, but generally in front of you, A4 is a good size it'll read. It has Bluetooth connectivity or a headphone jack for privacy, so nobody else can hear what you're reading. So if you're sitting on a train or a bus or something, it has the ability, just you reading your book or your document, and nobody else around you needs to know what you're reading. And it's easy to carry in a purse or a pocket. Can we jump off that and we go live with the camera? Is that possible? So I can just show you at this point. Here we go. So this is the OrCam Read. So you might be able to see it in my hand there with two fingers if people want to be able to see that. I can hold it in my hand and press a little button at the front. So if I picked up a document like this. I can point a little red arrow. I don't know if you can see that on the screen there.
C-shaped magnifier with speech ideal for large documents and newspapers. The best of both worlds. This model provides all the benefits of the...
So just trying to show people some examples of what you can do. So hopefully you can hear it. I have a packet of Weet-Bix, okay? So there are a little insight to what we eat in our family. So I can hold that box, take a photo.
Some under tablet checklight. Aussie kids are Weet-Bix kids.
So I'm just moving the speaker closer to my microphone so you could hear that there. So that's a little demonstration of how easy the OrCam read is to use, that you can just point it. If I wanted to read a poster like on behind me there,
Magnification aid. Real technology, QX devices, computer accessibility, QX.
so hopefully that's just given you all a very quick overview of what that product can do. If we can go back to the slides again, please. So OrCam Read is the small handheld device. And while at this point, I should point out the cost, because people are going to probably ask. They are $3,250. And as I said, they are covered by NDIS. There's quite a lot of stroke survivors who have received them through the NDIS packages and my aged care, home care funding. So all of these types of devices can be supplied through that funding model, or of course, there's private purchases as well. There's also another one called the OrCam My Eye. And those people that are able to see the slides, there is a pair of spectacles and it's got the OrCam My Eye on the side of it. So it's about the size of your index finger. And you have a little magnet on the spectacles, and you have another little magnet on the OrCam My Eye Pro, and the two just click together. So it attaches to glasses, so it's then pointing forward where your nose or your front of your face is aiming. It can be totally hands-free, so you don't actually have to hold it in your hand and press the button like you did on the previous model I showed you. This one, you can hold one finger up and it will take a photo. You can put 5 fingers up like you're a policeman putting your hand out to say stop, and it will stop. Or you can have automatic page recognition. It has a built-in ability, what they call smart reading, which you can actually, if you had a newspaper for argument's sake and you took a photo of the front page of the newspaper, you can say read headlines, and there might be 2 or 3 headlines on the front. It will then read out those 2 or 3 headlines, and then you can say read second article or third article, and it will jump straight to it. So it's quite intuitive. The one that goes on the glasses, the My Eye, also has added benefits of facial recognition, barcodes, banknotes. So if you're in the supermarket and you just point at most popular products, barcodes, it'll read out what they are. Very good if you might have some vision, but you don't have perfect vision, because as we know, with acquired brain injury, strokes and so on, you might lose a certain quadrant in your field of view. So let's say on a clock face that's between, say, 12 and 3 o'clock. So it doesn't matter what you're looking at, you're going to lose that area of that vision. So if you were to use a normal magnifier and make everything larger, you're still losing that section of vision between 12 and 3 o'clock. So with these types of devices, you can just point at where you think the writing should be, and it will read it to you. And the OrCam has vocal commands as well. There is another product called Clear, and sorry, and that one's about $7,200, I think it is. More expensive, obviously. The Clear Reader Plus is a tabletop device, and for those that can see the graphic, there's a gentleman sitting in a chair and he's got like a little coffee table beside him. I say this one looks like and feels like an old-fashioned toaster. It's A4 size across the front, a bit of A4 paper width, and it stands about 11 inches tall and about 3 or 4 inches fat. So it just looks like a bit of an old-fashioned toaster. And the way this one works is you put a document in front of it on the table and a little arm swings up. And I say that little arm's a bit like an elephant's trunk swinging up where a camera is. And then when you press the scan button, it takes a photo and then it will read the whole page top to bottom. If you had a novel, you can put a novel sideways. And when you put it sideways, it will read 2 pages for you. One of the differences is with the Clear Reader Plus, it will also have the ability to read across a line, like if you're reading a bank statement. So it'll tell you the date, for argument's sake, Woolworths, $25, the next date, Coles, $55, next date, Australia Post, $10.50, whatever it is. So it is a good thing for people who want to read financial statements and things like that. And what that means is these devices bring back to a lot of people is privacy. It brings back privacy and dignity that you can read your own documents. You don't have to have somebody else read them for you. And obviously that's independence. So the tabletop style is about $4,000. There's a few different models, but it's around the $4,000 mark. So I'm just trying to give people hope that there is things available to help them. Because one of the most annoying or frustrating things is when people have an acquired brain injury, go looking for help, everyone tends to jump to magnifiers. And my frustration is magnifiers exacerbate your problem and only make your problem worse, because all they're doing is magnifying that area of visual loss that you've got. They don't really correct anything. So people need to know of the alternatives of what's available, which is what these particular devices are. There is also ones that you can wear. There's a product called Iris Vision. It's built on, I'm trying to remember the name. Augmented reality, I think is the name they use for it, AR. It's a goggle, so it's got like a mobile phone type of thing stuck in the front of it, which has got the camera and the special software in it, and you wear it on your face, and you can be, say, watching television and things like that, and you've got the viewing right in front of you, but it also does text-to-speech. So there is products that you can wear trying to give you a bit more vision, but also do the reading and things for you. The difference is with an Iris Vision, you don't walk around in it. You don't drive or walk around because you'll feel seasick. They're there to be used seated, but you can look at things. And quite often people will say, I want to try and do some handicrafts and things. Well, that's an area that might help for you. I don't have one of those to demonstrate, but if people want me to demonstrate the OrCam My Eye Pro, I can do that too. There is also special software for your computer that you can have. So one of the things is you can have things like drag and naturally speaking, so that you can dictate into the computer what you're wanting. All of these softwares tend to work with Windows-based devices. If you wanted to get things out of your computer, you can have Zoom Text, which is a magnifier that will read what's on your computer screen.
With the Zoom Text software, I can have text on my computer, for example, on a website read aloud to me. So by simply clicking in the program and then clicking on the app reader button.
Here to help. Quantum's response to COVID-19. Click here. Subscribe to our newsletter now. Click here. Welcome to Quantum. For over 30 years, Quantum has been providing products and services to people with a print disability, low vision, blindness or a learning difficulty.
And you can stop it at any time just by pressing a key on your keyboard. So you can also use Zoom Text to follow the
Zoom Text magnifier reader, app reader,
what's under the mouse. So by hovering.
Mouse echo set to hover mode. Here to help. Quantum's response to COVID-19. Click here. With funding options available, book your demo today. Book a demo.
So that lets you just move your mouse around the screen and read any text under it. So that also works with things like Word and your email and any other text on the screen that you might want to read. So.
Okay, so with the Zoom Text, it's quite easy to use. A little interface comes up and you can just click on your web page where you're at and it will just read it out for you. So there's also read and write is another special software that's designed to help you to read, obviously, and to also write or input into your computer. So that's tools to enter text into your device. But read and write will actually work with Apple, Android, Windows, Chrome, and Edge compatible. So Zoom Text is only Windows compatible. Read and write is all those other devices or operating systems as well. So an example of where read and write is quite often used is aphasia or dyslexia, where people have obviously literacy issues. I was going to ask, is there questions? Is there an opportunity for people to ask questions?
There is an opportunity for people to ask questions. There have been none placed in the box this point. I'm just going back there to have a look. Nobody's asked a question. So I might ask a question if that's all right with you, Jeffrey. With these devices, I guess for all aspects of stroke, they may not be quite relevant, but I guess it's really focused on the vision issues, and therefore also with the whole the combination of aphasia, vision and cognitive disabilities. Would that be right?
That's accurate, yes, very right. Yes. So what we focus on, obviously not every stroke survivor has an inability to read documents. So we're concentrating on those people that have that, what we call print disability, which is their inability to read or understand what they're seeing. Sometimes people can see things, but they can't absorb the information or process the information. So they're the people that we're trying to assist.
And with devices, can you slow them down and I guess give people a lot more time to absorb the information that they're reading out?
Absolutely. Now, all of them, you can change the reading speed. For example, there's a product called the Clear Reader, and if I just show the front of it, it's got a little button at the finger here. Whilst it's playing, it's a little knob you can turn, and you can slow down or speed up the playback. So obviously you've got volume up and down, but these ones you can actually do on the run. So that's that one I said looks like a bit like a toaster. That's it there. With the OrCams, you've got to actually change that speed before you take your photo and go to use it. But they've got vocal commands where you can say speed up, speed down. So you don't have to be a whiz-bang in technology or IT. You can just talk to the device and it can change. So some people have it running at 60 words a minute, some people at 150 or 180 words a minute. Average speech is about 120 words a minute.
Okay. We do have one question through, and it's, do you have home assessments? And if so, what do these usually look like, and what do they look like during COVID, I guess?
Okay, the answer, yes, we do home assessments or home demonstrations. Depends on where the person is, obviously. If you live in Lightning Ridge or, you know, somewhere like that, no, we're not running out there as such. COVID has taught us all to be a little bit more flexible, so we are doing a lot of telehealth sessions. So on the Quantum website, which is Quantum R for reading, L for learning, V for vision, quantumrlv.com.au, we have produced lots of short videos of my colleagues and myself. They're about 2 to 3 minutes in length of all of our different devices being used. So in the initial stages, people can see that, or their family or carers or associates can look at that. But we can do one-on-one telehealth, or 2-on-1, which might be their occupational therapist or their speech pathologist with the person in their home, or online as well, and we do a 3-way demonstration. The ideal thing, of course, is having it in your hand. And if someone is funded through the NDIS do have a trial fee where we can lend people, or inverted commas, rent a device, so people can actually have it in their home for 4 or 5 days and actually play with it and really make sure it's going to be of benefit to them. And the NDIS have funded that. It comes out of their capacity building budget.
I guess one of the issues with vision after stroke is that it's often not really diagnosed very well when people are within the health facilities, and that is both acute and rehab. And some people go straight home from acute, and often the visual issues are not picked up. And I guess my question to you is, does Quantum also, similar to what guide dogs do an assessment and explain the vision loss to people post-stroke? Because they may not be aware of, I guess, that definition you gave earlier of the fact that it's not their eyes that aren't working, but it's actually the message that is going to the brain or being interpreted by the brain. That's the issue.
Yeah, well, we do, yeah. So when we go and see people, like people reach out to us and say, I can't read something. So we don't really know why they can't read, but yeah, we will sit with them and try and work out what's going to help them. Obviously, in the case of a stroke survivor, if they tell us that that's the issue, we kind of like, well, I do, because I've been around so long in the industry, is I jump over all the magnification aids and go straight to the text-to-speech, because that's where 99.9% of people get satisfaction and help. So obviously, the more people tell us about their situation, we can help them. But yes, that's one of the things we do in our visits. Okay.
And one of the other questions is, what other health professionals do you work with when working with clients on using these devices? And I guess that's an indication that just because somebody has a device, they may not be able to just automatically use it. So I guess it means that you need to work with other health professionals to give them training in order to assist somebody use them.
Absolutely. We are constantly doing in-service with occupational therapists, speech pathologists. There's some organisations have physios on board as well. So we are constantly working with all various assortment of allied health professionals. We're experts in what our products can do and the vision side of things, but obviously somebody, I'll give you an example. There was a young lady that got one of our devices, but after her stroke, she had a lot of limb, couldn't use her limbs properly, you know, that she couldn't lift up and point to things. So we had to make sure she was using a device that had an auto detect setting. So they needed to know how to set that up. Now, as she has progressed, she doesn't need the auto detect because she's getting more movement in her limbs and control over her limbs. So she's going back now to having the point and shoot type of feature. So she has to know how to adjust with that. So that's an example of where it's an ongoing arrangement. We don't just sell somebody a product. We're trying to find a solution that fits in with them as an individual for their circumstances. But I reiterate, we have to work closely with all of our clients' existing therapists. We're not here to replace them. We want to work hand in hand with them.
And there's a question here about, can you go through the practicalities of the trial session on how much information do you require about a person, and will there be more than one session where they can trial an item?
Well, okay, if we're trialling an item, so let's say somebody wants to trial the OrCam for argument's sake, and that will come after we've done our first face-to-face visit or telehealth, whatever it happens to be, showing them the range of options, because then someone can say, I think product X will fit into my lifestyle, and then they just want to try it. But then they might try that and find, no, it doesn't. Then they might want to look at option B or option C. So quite often it only takes 2 sessions for somebody to find something that's adequate. We're not here trying to just go through, you know, every different device, because people, we work out pretty quickly what their situation is, what type of aids is going to help them. I suppose that's just our experience and our knowledge
from working with them. And there's another question here that says, can the OrCam reader be used for dyslexic clients who may have trouble reading?
Absolutely. So, for example, the OrCam Read, which is that one, which is the handheld one, you see with my finger inside, that predominantly is targeted to people that have vision but print disability. So dyslexia is an absolute perfect example. The Queensland Department of Education did a trial and a study actually of the 2 different OrCams. So they had the one that goes on the glasses, which looks like that. That's how it clicks on. Okay, I'll try and go that way so you can see. And they showed that both of those devices were helping students that were having literacy issues in learning to read and had much better outcomes, participation in class and things. So the OrCams absolutely are targeted to people with literacy, dyslexia and so on.
And my next question is, does it also work in connection with hearing aids? Is there a way of connecting hearing aids and the OrCam for people who may also be hearing impaired?
Good question, excellent question. First of all, the one that goes up on the glasses, because of where it's positioned, the little speaker is right next to your ear. Right, so when it's, I just knocked my earbud out, sorry. So it's right next to your ear. So your hearing aid microphone can pick it up. But if you've got Bluetooth hearing aids, some Bluetooth hearing aids, you can Bluetooth both of those devices directly to. And the reason I say some is there's all different protocols in Bluetooth, apparently. Not that I'm a technician that works these things out. So some brands of hearing aids will automatically be able to connect. Others you have to have like a little adapter, little dongle, which might wear around your neck or put in your pocket, that one goes to the other. But absolutely it's possible, yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Jeffrey. That's given people another option in terms of how we can, I guess, adapt technology to some of the deficits that we acquire as a result of our stroke. So, again, thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and we hope to see you face to face again shortly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you, Ms. Kirrawee.
Thank you very much.